Okay, good morning. I'm Ben Reed, President Pro Tem of the Gadsden City Council. We're conducting today's work session by teleconference. This meeting is being broadcast on Facebook Live and will be available later on Channel 99, AT&T UVerse, and the city's YouTube channel. As a reminder, work sessions give the council an opportunity to review items on today's agenda, as well as any ordinances and resolutions that have been routed for the council's consideration. These meetings are informal and no official actions are taken. Okay, let's go to today's agenda. Y'all got it? Okay, item 8A is a resolution ordering abatement of nuisance at 2441 Fairview Road in District 7. That was tabled for 30 days on January the 12th. By the way, I'm going to get down, well, I was going to say downstairs, but when we go live, council, I'm going to ask for another 30 days on that. Number 9 is a resolution awarding bid 3448 for a 2021 herbicide application project. The city engineer has recommended awarding to Edco LLC the amount of $80,090 per year for a term of 3 years. Everybody understand that? Any questions? Okay. That being said, under public speaking this morning, there are 4: Alicia Duck, John Reed, Bob Sewell, and Dantes Robinson. Okay, y'all, any questions or comments on today's meeting?
Ben, I'd like to say I have a proclamation that I read last night at the Gadsden Public Library Black History Month program for Dr. Clarence Underwood, and I'd like to read that today during the proclamation section. Okay. In number 7. I have the proclamation here with me.
All right, does the mayor have any today? Mayor, he left, didn't he?
I know, I don't see him now.
Does he have a proclamation today?
I'm not aware of one.
Okay, that's good, Ken.
All right, thank you.
Hey, Ben,
No.
on the Oak Lawn Cemetery, are they referring to the Oak Lawn Cemetery as a Hickory Street Cemetery?
You know, Johnny, I don't know.
The city has always referred to that cemetery as the Alabama City Cemetery.
That's what yeah.
But I don't think any of the residents or people that live in that area refer to it as, they don't know what you're talking about if you say Alabama City Cemetery. But
okay. So where is the Oak Lawn Cemetery? Is that the one he's talking about, the guy's going to talk about, or do we know?
No, the speaker, you're asking about the speaker on today's agenda?
Yes, ma'am.
I believe he's going to be speaking about the Forest Cemetery and what we would say is the Alabama City Cemetery. I believe there's an Oak Lawn Cemetery in East Gadsden, but it's a private cemetery. And then the county tax records refer to the Alabama City Cemetery as Oak. Okay, the one in East Gadsden is Oak Lawn. And I think the tax roll refers to that one as Oakland, Oakland. But people in the neighborhood call it Flatwood or Hickory Street, like you mentioned. So
okay. I was just curious. I didn't know which one he was talking about.
I didn't know. Yeah. Hey, Kent, would you like to introduce our new lady friend here on camera?
Oh, I'd love to. This is Meredith Back. This is my 3-year-old granddaughter. She's staying with us this morning. Okay. Hi, Meredith.
All right. Uptown. She's on the mountain with all the snow. Okay. Have we got any more questions or comments?
Yeah.
Okay. So
do we know what the speaker is going to be inquiring about?
Yes, I spoke with him briefly on Friday, and I believe it's in regard to the graveside ceremonies or commitment ceremonies at the cemetery is what his questions relate to.
So do we have somebody available to respond if there's a policy we need to speak to or anything like that?
The cemetery comes under Parks and Recreation, but it might be a mayor's question to answer.
Well, I mean, one of the benefits of our rules of procedure, of course, is us for when a citizen requests to speak and they have an issue, us knowing in advance is an opportunity for us to kind of prepare and have a response ready or a solution, a proposed solution for their issue. So,
Yes, and I did make Jen Wethington aware that he was going to speak and what the topic would be.
Okay.
That's a good question. Okay.
Jen available? Is she on?
Yes, sir. She's on the call.
I see her on the call. She's muted.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Are you prepared to respond? I mean, I know we don't know exactly what they're going to say, but are we to some degree prepared, and do we have a policy response?
I have information on where we stand on our policies, where we've been changing them due to COVID. Yes, sir.
Okay. And I'm not being difficult, but that's the benefit of how we do things. I mean, gives us an opportunity to prepare, and that's not, us being defensive. That's us being ready. So I, want to just kind of highlight that point.
Eric, there are a lot of questions about forest, and it's the plumbing, the paving, whatever that's coming up, I'm sure. But those are questions, and you're right. We ought to be prepared to answer them. Okay. Any more comments, y'all? Okay. Let me see what I got here. There are not any pre-council items to review today. Since we're meeting in person next week, there will be one public hearing regarding nuisances at 1901 Nakalula Road. Council have any further questions or comments? Okay, we'll take a short break.
I have
and
one,
come back to
Ben, I have one. I was wondering, do we have any warming stations open? I was getting calls last night about that.
I was too. Yeah.
There's a list that the Gadsden Times posted, and we can have EMA speak to it in the regular meeting, but there was a list that was posted of warnings.
Well, I spoke with her last night, and she didn't know of any. She said that the city didn't have any open. So that's what I was wondering about. That's what the calls. I know Salvation Army was open, but they can only take so many.
It might.
I tell you, EMA is going to be off the air this morning,
Right.
so they won't be available in the meeting. So what we'll do, we'll call Deborah and have some information on that, because that is very important. So Thomas, when we get that, we'll call you. How about that?
Okay.
Right now, usually Parks and Rec usually has Elliott as a warming center, but due to us being closed, we have not opened that, and I don't believe the library has opened theirs as a classified warming center.
Well, didn't City Hall open back up Monday?
Yeah. Yes.
Jen?
Yes, sir.
So shouldn't Elliott be open for a warming station?
I mean, we would have a lot of protocols. None of my staff has been vaccinated or anything to that manner. And just like I said, we have not reopened fully in Parks and Recreation yet. We've still been working on plans on doing that.
Guys, there is I've got a partial list as of Monday night. All of the Gadsden Public Library branches until 5 p.m. The Salvation Army at 114 North 11th Street, beginning at 5 and at least overnight. The Altoona Community Center until it's no longer needed, and that is and that's the extent of it that was published last night. Now that may have been updated this morning and may also be updated this afternoon. So, but that's what we've got right now.
Good. Thomas, you got that? Okay, all right,
Yes.
I guess we'll, what? Okay, we'll convene until 11 o'clock, okay? See y'all at 11. Okay, good morning, I'm Ben Reed, President Pro Tem of the Gadsden City Council. We're meeting today on teleconference. Today's council meeting is being broadcast on Facebook Live and can also be viewed later on Comcast Channel 99, AT&T UVerse, and the City of Gadsden YouTube channel. This meeting of the Gadsden City Council will now come to order. The chair calls on City Clerk Ivan Nelson for the roll call.
President Tolles is absent today. Councilman Williams,
Here.
Councilman Worthy,
Here.
Councilman Back,
Here.
Councilman Wilson,
Here.
and Councilman Cannon,
Here.
and Councilman Reed.
Here,
We have a quorum present and our meeting is open for business. Ask everyone to bow for the invocation. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the day that you've blessed us with. We thank you for your blessings to us, and we pray for those who may be impacted by the winter weather, whether it's the cold or whether it's icy conditions. We just pray for your safety and your protection. And we pray for our elected officials as they conduct this meeting, that all things would be done according to your will and for the good of our citizens. These things we ask in your name. Amen.
yeah. Okay, number 5, Chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the work session and City Council meeting held on February the 9th.
So move.
Second.
Okay, clerk, would you take the vote, please?
Councilman Williams,
Yes.
Councilman Worthy,
Yes.
Councilman Back,
Yes.
Councilman Wilson,
Yes.
Councilman Cannon,
Yes.
and Councilman Reed.
Yes.
Motion carries to approve minutes.
Okay, number 6, the chair will entertain a motion to ratify payment of accounts for the week of February the 5th through February the 11th.
So
So
move.
The motion.
So move.
Second.
Okay, clerk, would you take the vote, please?
Councilman Reed,
Yes.
Councilman Cannon,
Yes.
Councilman Wilson,
Yes.
Councilman Back,
Yes.
Councilman Worthy,
Yes.
Councilman Williams.
Yes.
Motion carries to ratify payment of the accounts.
Very good. Okay, number 7, proclamations. Mayor, do you have any?
Oh, sir, I don't have one.
Good. All right, this time we'll call on Councilman Back. He has a proclamation.
I do. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Through my association as a board member of the Etowah County Sports Hall of Fame, I was able to meet, become friends with Dr. Clarence Underwood, who we have a proclamation for Dr. Underwood today. What a great man and what a great opportunity last night we had as the Gadsden Public Library, as part of their Black History Month. Dr. Underwood spoke for about a little over an hour, and 40 some odd people were online on the Zoom to hear the call. And I read the proclamation last night, and I told Dr. Underwood I was going to read it again this morning at the council meeting, and then we're going to send it to him to his home in East Lansing, Michigan, where he resides. He has numerous family members here in the Gadsden area, and a lot of them were on the Zoom call last night. So just pay close attention to these words. He is such an outstanding gentleman and a proud son of Gadsden. So from the city of Gadsden, Alabama, a proclamation. Whereas Clarence Underwood was, whereas Clarence Underwood was born in Marion, Alabama on October 10th, 1933, and was a resident of Gadsden, graduating from Carver High School in 1953. He served in the United States Army, 82nd Airborne Division from 1953 to 1955, and graduated from Michigan State in 1961, receiving bachelor's and master's degrees in health and physical education and attaining a PhD in higher education in 1982. And whereas Dr. Underwood served as Michigan State Assistant manager in 1969, was deputy commissioner of the Big Ten Athletic Conference from 1982 through 1990, and Michigan State assistant athletic director from 1990 through 1999. He served as athletics director at Michigan State from 1999 through 2002, with many accomplishments, including the 2000 NCAA basketball championship, multiple Final Four appearances for men's basketball, 2000 Citrus Bowl victory, Frozen Four appearance for hockey, and a majority of teams represented in NCAA championships. And whereas Dr. Underwood enjoyed a long and distinguished career as a teacher, counselor, and administrator. He received the Michigan State Distinguished Alumni Award in 2003, the Michigan State Department of Kinesiology Professional Achievement Award in 2013, and was inducted into the Michigan State Hall of Fame in 2017. And whereas Dr. Clarence Underwood was inducted into the Etowah County Sports Hall of Fame in 2020, and is returning to Gadsden to speak in conjunction with the Black History Month event at the Gadsden Public Library on February the 15th, 2021. Now, therefore, the Mayor and City Council of Gadsden, Alabama hereby join in recognizing Dr. Clarence Underwood for his many accomplishments and honoring this lifelong educator who has inspired others to expand and advance their efforts to promote learning, development, and well-being. Presented this 15th day of February 2021, and this proclamation has been signed by the mayor and by all of the council members, and we'll be sending that to Dr. Underwood here shortly. And again, just congratulations to Dr. Underwood and to his family. Truly a gentleman of highest caliber, and has impacted thousands of student athletes at Michigan State over the last half a century. So thank you, Dr. Underwood.
Thank you, Ken, and I know we all agree totally. Unbelievable. Okay, number 8, unfinished business. A is a resolution ordering abatement of nuisance on property at 2441 Fairview Road in District 7. The resolution was tabled for 30 days on January 12th. What is the pleasure of the council? I'm going to move for another 30-day table.
Second.
Clerk, would you take the vote, please?
All right, this is to table the resolution for an additional 30 days. Councilman Williams?
Yes.
Councilman Worthy?
Yes.
Councilman Back?
Yes.
Councilman Wilson?
yes,
Councilman Cannon?
Yes.
And Councilman Reed.
Yes.
Motion carries to table for 30 additional days.
Number 9 is a resolution awarding bid number 3448 for 2021 herbicide application project. The city engineer has recommended awarding the bid to Edco LLC. The amount is $80,090 per year for a term of 3 years. Chair will entertain a motion to adopt this resolution.
So move.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Okay.
I think
take the vote, please. I'm sorry, what?
I think this same company's had this contract for a pretty good while, hadn't they? If I'm not mistaken.
I don't know.
they have, Johnny, and they're the only ones that bid on it according to the comments from last week's meeting.
Yeah, I thought I was right. I was just going to make sure on it.
Okay. Clerk, would you take the vote?
Councilman Reed?
Yes.
Councilman Cannon?
Yes.
Councilman Wilson?
Yes,
Councilman Back?
Yes.
Councilman Worthy?
Yes.
And Councilman Williams.
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt.
Okay. New business, is there any new business this morning? Okay, department reports, committees, boards, and so on. Any? Okay. Then we'll move on to 6 citizen requests. Our first request comes from Alicia Duck, Pilgrim's Culture and Opportunities within the Rendering Group. Is Ms. Duck here? She's on. She must be muted.
It takes him a minute, I believe, to get her noted.
Okay.
Yep, Ms. Duck, there you go.
Yes, is that better?
Yes, I think we've got you now.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
And a reminder of 5 minutes, please.
Sorry. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. As stated earlier, my name is Alicia Duck. I have worked for Pilgrim since 2004, and I asked to be here today just simply because I want to share what Pilgrims and specifically the Pilgrims Rendering Department has meant for me and my family. My dad retired from Pilgrims as a truck driver a few years ago, and my grandmother retired several years ago from Pilgrims as a secretary. So I've always been familiar with Pilgrims, but it wasn't until I became a single mom of 3 boys and needed a way to support my family that I began to work here. But once I did, I quickly fell in love with the management and the people, and just realized that this was a place that I could grow into and that would grow with me and could turn into a career. I worked in the edible side, on the food edible side, and the pet edible side. And in 2016, I started working at the rendering plant in Mount Pleasant, Texas, as a lab technician. There, I just test the finished product that we produce here at the plant. And I'm now the lab manager for the different Pilgrims rendering plants. As throughout all Pilgrims, customer satisfaction is paramount. The same principle applies to our rendering facilities. It's important that our plants produce a high-quality product so that our customers can create pet food that is safe and healthy for your 4-legged family member. And this is where my job comes in. This is where I'm able to help just a little bit by making sure our testing procedures and our test results align with our customer specifications, as well as the guidelines established by the Food Safety Modernization Act. Pilgrims has enabled me to provide for my family. I put 2 boys through college, the third is a junior in college, so almost 3, and then I've returned to school myself. Pilgrims also offers advanced work programs to their employees. They have a supervisor and manager training program, as well as internships. I have several friends who participate in these programs and seen how they help to advance them within Pilgrims. There are also scholarship programs offered that open doors that might not have previously been an option. And like each of you, I serve on a different boards within our community around Mount Pleasant. And so I know that they also give back to the community. And just a few weeks ago, Pilgrims partnered with the city of Mount Pleasant to provide a new community center in one of our parks. They provided breakfast to our local law enforcement in honor of National Law Enforcement Appreciation Day. And in December, Pilgrims participated in the community toy drive and made donations of cleaning and pet supplies to our local animal shelter. I could go on, but I know how valuable your time is here today. Pilgrims Rendering Department is like a family who truly cares for each other. We're all friends who cheer each other on through the struggles and celebrate each other through the success. I'm confident that should this new facility be built, those who will work there as well as this community will see the benefits of being added to our family. I love my job, and I just want to be able to share that with each of you and to express that to you and see how working for Pilgrims Rendering Vision was one of the best decisions I ever made. I'm sure my experience will be the same for members of Gadsden as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Duck. Okay, our next speaker would be John Reed. Mr. Reed on.
Yes, sir, he is. We'll give him just a moment. I've asked him to start his video. All right. You look good to go, Mr. Reed.
Thank you, Mr. Reed. You have 5 minutes, please.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir, we can.
Yes.
My name is John Reed. I'm founder and president of Reed Engineering Company, and I'm representing Pilgrims in my presentation today. Reed Engineering Company is located in Fredericksburg, Virginia. That's the boyhood home of George Washington. I have over 50 years of experience in wastewater treatment system design. I'm a professional engineer in 38 states, including the state of Alabama. I have 45 years of experience in the design of operation of wastewater treatment systems for poultry processing plants and rendering plants. Reed Engineering Company has been in business since 1977, specializing in poultry and rendering plant wastewater treatment system design. And in that time period, we've worked for most major rendering companies and meat processing companies in the United States. I've served as what's called the engineer of record on over 100 food processing wastewater treatment projects, including numerous wastewater treatment systems for rendering plants located throughout the United States and in the state of Alabama. Specifically, Reed Engineering Company has designed a wastewater treatment system in Gadsden, Alabama. So we have experience in Gadsden. Reed Engineering Company designed the recent upgrades for the cooked foods wastewater treatment system in Gadsden. This upgrade design included a state-of-the-art biological nitrogen removal system to provide high efficiency total nitrogen removal before discharge of treated wastewater into the Coosa River. This wastewater treatment system upgrade design required a robust system with new above ground tanks instead of older lagoons or adding new lagoons. The new treatment tanks have a state-of-the-art jet aeration equipment to provide continuously well-mixed, aerated, and aerobic conditions to promote high-efficiency biological treatment. Similarly, the proposed new Pilgrim's wastewater treatment system in Gadsden is designed to use the same type of state-of-the-art, high-efficiency biological nitrogen removal treatment system as the cooked foods plant, with above-ground tanks and with jet aeration systems to meet the stringent Gadsden pre-treatment permit limits. The proposed new Pilgrim's Gadsden, Alabama wastewater pre-treatment system will provide treatment capacity for wastewater loadings equivalent to a 12 million gallon a day municipal sewage treatment plant, which would serve a city of 1,000 people. The Pilgrim's wastewater will receive pre-treatment to reduce wastewater strength down to levels equivalent to typical domestic sewage before discharging into the city sewer system. The new Pilgrim's Gadsden wastewater pretreatment system will provide over 97% removal of BOD and over 85% removal of nitrogen prior to discharging their pretreated wastewater into the City of Gadsden wastewater treatment system for final treatment with the city wastewater before discharge to the Coosa River. So in summary, based on my decades of experience in the wastewater treatment field, I'm confident that the wastewater treatment system to be used at the proposed Pilgrim's rendering plant would be among the most advanced in the state of Alabama. The residents and city leadership of Gadsden should trust that the Pilgrim's wastewater will be well treated and odor-free. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reed.
Councilman
Okay,
Reed, I have a couple of questions.
All right.
Mr. Reed, just to clarify, you had mentioned your long history in the industry, specifically with this project. Just to be clear, you are the engineer of record on this proposed project in Gadsden?
Mr. Reed, I'm sorry, I muted you. If you could please unmute to answer the question. There we go. Thank you.
I am the engineer of record for the Pilgrim's wastewater pretreatment system in Gadsden. Yes.
Okay, and obvious question here, and I'm not trying to catch you in a corner, but I mean, is your compensation affected by whether or not this plan actually comes to fruition? For example, if this facility was never built, would that negatively impact your compensation from Pilgrim's Pride on this project?
No.
So okay, I'll leave it at that. And one last question: is there a rendering facility in Fredericksburg, Virginia? A poultry rendering facility?
No.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Reed.
Okay, any more questions? All right, our next speaker is Bob Sewell. awful trailer design and spill control. Is Mr. Sewell here?
Yes.
Yes. 5 minutes, Mr. Sewell, appreciate it.
All right. Thank you. My name is Bob Sewell. I work for Travis Body and Trailer out of Houston, Texas. I worked for this company since 1984 and actually sold the first rendering trailers that we ever built back in about 86, 87. We've been very active in the business ever since. Prior to that, I have a little knowledge of Gadsden, Alabama, because I worked for the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company, but I was on the earth mover side and just knew that from time to time, my sister stores would get tires from Gadsden plant, and I'm quite sorry to hear that they shut down because we always got a good product from them. A little bit about the trailers that Pilgrim is proposing to use. They will be sealed over the top, to the best of our ability. I mean, we've set up, we test these trailers before they leave. We water test them. We'll put 3 to 4 foot of water in them. If we even find a leak of any kind, then we bring it back in the shop, continue the welding process to catch that leak, and then go on down the boulevard. And they don't leave us till we're satisfied, because we don't want, any leakage anywhere in the United States. All of our trailers have what we call a slosh cap at the front and the rear. If any of you are familiar with the trucking business, you can stop a lot faster than you accelerate. So the slosh cap at the front is typically anywhere from 3 to 6 foot in depth from the nose. That way, if the product moves forward in the trailer, it comes up, it hits the slosh cap and comes back down. So there's no way of it sloshing over the top with the covering. We are also offering them a new design trailer that we started building about 6 years ago. It's referred to in our industry as a possum belly. It just means it has a drop portion in the middle between the landing gear and the tires, which lowers the center of gravity. And we've found, everyone has it, builds this trailer, that the chance of turning one over, it lessens it considerably. Now, the other thing that we've done, we've made a system from Meritor called Roll Stability, and it is standard equipment on all of our rendering trailers. So any of the trailers that Pilgrim buys, whether it's this design or the flat floor design, would have the Roll Stability. And basically what that's doing is, that is a computer controlling the braking of the truck and the trailer, so as to prevent the driver from making a hard turn that would turn the truck and trailer over. So like I say, we've made that standard on us. The back end of the trailer, the opening of the trailer, as you all would call it, we have a rubber seal that is replaceable, but our experience has been that they don't replace them about every 10 years. We have a locking mechanism that is air, and then besides that, we have 4 wing nut latches that have to be manually brought down on the trailer, 2 on either side of the gate and 2 across the bottom. They're more of a backup than anything else. Everything is a redundant situation. Chances of losing air, practically none. Chances of opening the gate, practically none. The chances of all 4 safety latches coming off at any given time, practically none. So we're going to contain the product, for Pilgrims inside the trailer in transit, no matter whether, I don't know whether they're running 50 miles or 150 miles for this project, but it doesn't make any difference. That's kind of, the inner workings of the trailer. Does anybody have any questions and maybe I can answer?
Yes, Mr. Sewell, I have one question, and I find myself in a unique position in that I actually am qualified to talk about this. I'm a logistics and supply chain guy by trade and spent many years in the trucking business. Having said that, I know how much one of these trailers costs. And can you give me a rough idea of how many you would expect to sell if this project were to come to fruition?
They haven't, I'm not trying to be evasive, they haven't given me a number, but I don't know how far out they're reaching, but I would say that it's probably in the range of 40 to 50 units.
And what's the average cost of one of the trailers, just for the general public?
They're going to run around around $60,000 each with the options that Pilgrims typically buys from us.
All right, last question, and I've asked every person who's spoken here. Is there a poultry rendering facility in Tulsa, Oklahoma?
No, but yes, there is. It's a suburb. It's in Collinsville. It's owned by one of Pilgrim's competitors, but yes.
Okay, thank you.
I have
All
a
right.
question, sir.
Sure.
What type of top is on the trailer itself? What type of top?
Okay. We use a 22-ounce vinyl, which is the heaviest in the industry. And then depending on the location, they'll either strap and ratchet. In other words, there'll be 5 ratchets down the side of the trailer that they will pull the tarp tight with. And it overlaps the caps at the front and the rear about 12 to 15 inches. And then that way there's no chance of any. And then there's what we call a wind dam, which is just a piece of aluminum, stands about an inch tall right in front of the tarp. And what the wind dam does, it deflects the air over the tarp, keeps the air from fluttering the tarp and causing it to get loose.
Thank you.
And most of these companies will run both ways with the trailer tarp. And the reason being is because it's more fuel efficient for them to do that.
Mr. Sewell, is it possible that this Pilgrim's Pride operation would be utilizing refrigerated trailers as well?
Gosh, you hit me with a question I may not have an answer. May have to ask them. Not on our end, because the product doesn't have to be kept cold from spoilage or anything like that. On the shipping out end, I don't know. Most of their product would move in tank trailers, grain trailers, or dump trailers, but they may have some product that would have to be refrigerated.
And is it fair to say that those refrigerated trailers are made of some hard component on each side, and they're basically enclosed and refrigerated? Is that accurate to say?
Yes. Now they're not as structurally strong a trailer as we are because they don't have to be. A refrigerated trailer is designed to be loaded completely full with a cold product. So all the refrigeration unit is trying to do is hold that temperature. It's not trying to bring it from ambient temperature outside of, say, 70, 80, 90 degrees down to a freezing point. It has to be loaded in that trailer as cold as they want it.
So the final question I have for you is an easy one. You mentioned that there's a rendering facility in a suburban area outside of Tulsa.
Yes.
Are you aware of any complaints from the community relative to that facility?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Are you aware of any complaints from the community relative to that facility?
No. That one is owned by Darling International, and they have, that plant was started back in the 40s, and it's even before my time, and it's been brought up to current standards several times, and it's pretty sophisticated operation right now. I would say I don't know of anything that's been brought to the attention of the city of Tulsa, because you know how the news media is. If something like that were to happen, they'd have it on the 6 o'clock news.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Sewell.
You're welcome.
Mr. Sewell, I have a
Any more
question for you. I have a question. From a layman's perspective, why is the reason that the trucks that you're talking about have a tarp cover as opposed to being like an all-enclosed tanker type truck?
Well, it has to do with the loading facilities that they're picking up from. Now, if the loading facilities could be designed to pump it into it, not pump it, that's not a proper word, but to load it into a overhead facility like a dome lid or something like that, that would be okay. But most of the facilities that the renders pick up from have been around for a long, long time. So they've got to deal with their facility instead of going in and updating it to accommodate the renderer.
Okay, it seems like that's always what I've seen on videos and things. That's where a source of contamination or whatever, spillage comes from, not contamination, but spillage, is that there's a tarp, I guess, that people have to tie down.
Yes.
And it seems to be that's where leaks happen and where odors come from. And then another question is, you mentioned welding, and these are brand new trucks. What's the life expectancy of the weld? And is there a weld on the bottom of the truck, of the bed of the truck, where product could leak out once a weld either has a rupture or some kind of a malfunction?
Right. The floor of the trailer, we make it out of a one-piece sheet. So it's not a splice sheet of any kind. Once again, if you use a one-piece sheet, you eliminate any chance of a weld going across. So now you've got to weld that to the lower rail, and then you have to weld the sides to the lower rail. So you have welds there, but it's amazing. You don't see cracking on the bottom of the trailer. You'll see it up towards the nose and over the suspension about midway up of the body. And lifetime, like I say, I sold Hudson Foods, which was bought by Simmons Industries many, many years ago. I sold them some trailers in 1987, and their plant is in still operation. And I've seen those trailers still running. Since then, we've probably sold Tyson 500-600 trailers over the last 20 years. The life of the trailer just goes on and on because the product doesn't wear anything. Unlike if we were to put rock, sand, and gravel in the same trailer, that rock and sand would sandpaper the floors out eventually. Where this product is, it's chickens or whatever it is, hogs, pigs, or cattle, whatever they're rendering over there. I don't know.
All right. Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Any more questions?
Yeah, can you explain to us how they load those trucks? Do they have a backhoe they load it with, or a machine, or how do they load those trucks?
Typically, it is an augered system, and it's a screw opening. And what they'll do is they'll run it down about a 4 or 5 inch diameter tube with just an auger screw, and then along the length of that screw, they have openings where they can drop in from there. So they don't load with a front end loader or anything like that. So it's all contained at the plant, and the trailer may sit there anywhere from an hour to half a day to all day, depending on the size of the plant before it gets loaded.
What would be the difference instead of putting a tarp on top and leaving the top of it open, just have 3 or 4 openings down through there and have a sealed top on that? Couldn't y'all do that?
We could, but the problem is trying to match the openings. Every plant that they have would have the loading openings at a different location, at a different spot along the length of the trailer. And that's what would deal Pilgrims more problems than anything. To my knowledge at the moment, nobody is using a completely covered trailer. They're all using a tarping system of some kind.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Ms. Sewell, I appreciate it. It was very informative.
Thank you. And I'll go ahead and leave your meeting for now, if you don't mind.
That's great. Thank you a lot.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, our next speaker is going to be Denzel Robinson, Services at Forest and Oak Lawn Cemeteries. Is Ms. Robinson on?
I am.
Good. Okay, go ahead. 5 minutes, Ms. Robinson.
All right. My name is Dennis Robinson. I'm the managing funeral director at West Gadsden Funeral Home. We just been having a few problems when it comes down to us burying in Forest Cemetery and Oaklawn Cemetery. Wanted to know if I'm speaking on behalf of our consumer and on behalf of our funeral home, wanting to know if open the cemetery back up where we can do burials far as with the family being present. We have went to Oaklawn maybe twice since the pandemic, and we have went to Forest Cemetery a couple of times. and the personnel there wouldn't let the family come in. And we've been getting a little bit backlash off the family saying that if they loved one passes away, whether it's from COVID or not COVID, they haven't been able to attend the services for their loved one at the committal service or at the cemetery. And just want to see if we could get that back open because of the pandemic that is going on. And I do understand what is going on, but, you know, I do have a heart fire with people that we service. If they losing their loved ones and they're paying the finances to have burial spaces at the cemetery, just want to see if they can attend the committal service, because once we do the service, we have to wait on the body to be lowered into the grave, have to let the family wait until all of that is taking place and the grave is covered, and just want to kind of get a family a little closure with them being present so they can do the committal service and they can be present when we're doing our services also.
Okay, I don't know who would be the best to answer that question, and I can totally understand what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. Mayor, do you have any idea on when that'll happen, when they'll open it up? Or is that a state situation or what?
At one time, the governor, the state put out a thing. I haven't had any calls on that lately, but at one time the state put out a thing where you had to let the people put the people in, and then the people come back and put flowers and do stuff like that. But I haven't had any calls about that in quite a while, so I don't know if anything's changed or not, just to be honest with you.
Ms. Robinson, I think we're all very interested in that. Give us a little time and let's see what we can come up with, find out. I understand going to the funeral at the cemetery, it can't be 6 feet apart. The family, it's just out of reason, really. But we'll find out and get you an answer for that, okay? Anybody else have a question about that or any discussion on it? Okay, we'll be back to you, Mr. Robinson, and appreciate you coming in, okay? All right. Remarks for the mayor and the council. Thomas, you in the top left, you want to start?
I just want to announce the job fair on March the 11th from 9 to 1. That's it. Thank you. At the venue.
Okay. All right, Johnny.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank everyone that said a prayer for me and my wife. This is our 3rd week. We're getting better with this COVID. I want to tell everybody to make sure you wear your mask out there. This stuff is real. It just hits you it just hits you quick. You don't even know you got it until it hits you. And when it hits you, you go down fast. My wife didn't have to do a hospital stay. I had to do a little hospital stay for a day, half a day. But I'm just thankful I got back home. I'm on my 2nd round of stuff try to kill this virus. And I think it's doing real good this time. But we're both still a little weak. And I just want to make sure everybody wears their mask and tries to stay 6 foot apart from everyone. Also, I want to thank everyone for the food drop off they did on the porches for us when we were sick. It's just nice to know you have a lot of friends in this town that when you get sick, they just come to help you. And I sure do appreciate all those. And I appreciate all the council members that prayed for us and the ones that's called us every day and checking on us. That's it.
Very good, Johnny. Ken?
I don't have anything, Councilman. Thank you.
Okay. Jason?
Yeah, just a couple of quick things on this rendering plant. I don't really understand what's going on. I mean, we keep getting these people coming and speaking to this body, yet supposedly we're supposed to be left out of the loop because of confidentiality and all that. I just don't understand why everybody's coming to talk to us when we apparently may not even get a chance to vote on this thing. It's confusing, but I'll go down the list real quick. Ms. Duck, while I appreciate her long tenured history with Pilgrim's Pride, the fact is Mount Pleasant, Texas is a population, the entire county's got 35,000 people in it. Their population density is 1/3 of the population density of Etowah County. And if you want to go down the list in Texas, every single one of the facilities in Texas that is owned by JBS/Pilgrim's Pride is in a community that it is least 1/3 as densely populated as Etowah County. Every single one of them. And, you know, and speaking of Mount Pleasant, to Mr. Reed's point about wastewater treatment facilities and the release of nitrogen, according to the Environmental Integrity Project, and I looked all this up today after I got the council agenda last night. According to the Environmental Integrity Project out of Washington, D.C., Mount Pleasant, Pilgrim's Pride, released the 3rd most nitrogen of any industry plant in America in 2017 into their waterways. 3rd out of 40,000 companies that are monitored. Mount Pleasant, Pilgrim's Pride was ranked number 3 in the nation for nitrogen release. Okay. Another issue that I have with the poultry rendering and processing industry in general, Pilgrim's Pride as of 2017 has the 6th most cases of severe work-related injuries out of 14,000 companies monitored by OSHA of any industry. They have a higher serious injury rate per 1,000 employees than the automotive industry and the steel industry combined. Okay, again, I'm going to say this again. JBS, the owner of Pilgrim's Pride, has the 6th most recordable injuries of any industry, any company out of 14,000 companies monitored in America. They are the #1 leading cause of finger amputations in America, the poultry industry, okay? Their CEO 6 months ago was indicted for price fixing. The United States Congress just released a report that is investigating Pilgrim's Pride for OSHA violations in their handling of COVID restrictions. Now, these are all just allegations, but they just agreed to pay over $500 million, $500 million in fines related to price fixing, bribery, corruption, and they're the #1 rated cause of workplace industries. The chicken processing industry is in general, specifically the rendering processes. So, you know, I understand that all these people who are coming up here to speak to us want to give us the other side of the coin. But I hope that everyone also understands that every single person we have heard from over the last 2 weeks supporting this project or providing background information is directly compensated by Pilgrim's Pride. If that is not a conflict of interest here, I don't know what is. But since I can't be involved in any of the meetings officially, and I just have to sit here and listen to these paid speakers come up and tell me why I shouldn't be worried about it when none of them live in a town with a rendering facility. You know how I know that? Pilgrim's Pride doesn't have a poultry rendering facility in the United States. They have 3 in Mexico and 2 in Europe. They don't have a poultry rendering facility anywhere in the US. I don't know what that tells you. And maybe this is an opportunity that they're trying, like they've said, to change this thing and to improve it and to bring the industry up. And I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt there. But again, like I said, every other chicken facility that Pilgrim's Pride has, just in the state of Texas, is in a town 1/3 the size of Gadsden. And that's why I don't think that this is the right place for this plant. Can we work with Pilgrim's Pride and JBS to try and find a location in this county? Possibly, but it does not need to go where it's being discussed right now or where it's supposedly being discussed. I still haven't seen anything. I haven't seen anything of an official manner because, again, I'm not allowed to. So thank you, Mr. President. That's all I have.
Okay. David?
Mr. President, I don't have anything.
Okay. Mayor?
I don't have anything.
Oh, just seems to me, Johnny and I were talking about that second shot. Just me personally, I want to thank the health department. They do a great job over there, as does everybody else giving the shots. But my experience was that I have felt nothing. I had the second shot yesterday, no problems at all. So a lot of it, I'm sure, some of it, I'm sure would happen periodically. As far as I'm concerned, it was great. Okay, I have one announcement. We plan to meet in person next week, February the 23rd. Our work session will be at 10 o'clock and the council meeting at 11 in the council chamber. So we will be live next week, y'all. So we'll see you then. I have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved. Second.
Okay, all in favor? We are adjourned.